Thank you, Dr. Ko. At this point, I would like to call on the 20th President of the University of the Philippines, the first President under our new charter designating UP as the National University, and also for his message and introduction of our keynote speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, UP President Alfredo E. Pascual.
His Excellency, President Benigno S. Aquino III, distinguished guests, mga kasamang naglilingkod sa universidad at sa bayan, isang mapagpalayang pagbati sa inyong lahat. My warmest congratulations to the premier and preeminent public administration school in the Philippines, the UP National College of Public Administration and Governance, on the occasion of its 60th founding anniversary. I would also like to congratulate the UP NCPAG faculty, led by its Dean, Dr. Edna Ko, and its students, staff, alumni, and supporters. Your commitment to honor and excellence, ethical service, and perseverance to the past 60 years have made your college the distinguished institution that it is today. My salute to all of you. The UP NCPAG was envisioned to be a community of scholars and the nation's premier institution of higher learning in public administration, with the ultimate aim of enhancing leadership, public service, and citizen participation and democratic governance in pursuit of national goals for the common good and the national interest. As I attended meetings and visited regions in the Philippines, since I became president last year, UP president last year, I have been amazed by the sheer number of public officials, members of the House and the Senate, local government officials, educators and researchers, and technical staff of many government offices who identify themselves as UP NCPAG alumni. Indeed, the UP NCPAG's history reflects the history of the University of the Philippines. It is a history worthy of honor. It is a history worthy of celebration. Its history and achievements also exemplify the new theme of the university, UP, shaping minds that shape the nation. Much as it has grown and developed through the years, the UP NCPAG must continue to evolve and provide leadership in public administration, education, research, and service. Some things remain unchanged, such as the search for answers to the basic public administration question of how to get the most done in the fastest way possible with the least amount of cost. Another is the perennial problem of corruption and incompetence in government service. The UP NCPAG must provide leadership in finding new ways to provide public goods and render public service that ensure the highest social equity in a highly unequal society. And intellectual leadership in finding the balance between the needs and the costs, between power and responsibility, between the public and the private sphere, and between individual right and the national interest. However, much has also changed in the world of governance. As the eminent Dean of the University of Maryland School of Public Policy, Donald Kettle, said, quote, "The challenge facing government administrators in the 21st century is that they can do their jobs by the book and still not get the job done. The challenge is to rewrite the book to get the job done." End of quote. Responding to Dean Kettle's challenge, the UP NCPAG must rewrite the book on Philippine public administration, drawing inspiration from the tuwid na daan paradigm of the current Philippine administration under President Aquino. And the UP NCPAG must not only rewrite the book, but share it with those who need it most: government, public and private institutions, and civil society as a whole. As the country's national university, the University of the Philippines is mandated to lead in higher education and national development. I am confident that the UP-NCPAG is aware and ready to continue its leadership as the premier public administration college in the country. You have and will continue shaping minds that shape our nation. For as long as the words, "Public office is a public trust," are enshrined in the highest law of the land, the country will continue to look up to and look for the UP-NCPAG. I believe that the UP-NCPAG is up to the task for the next 60 years and beyond. Again, congratulations, and I wish you a fruitful and productive conference. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the Republic of the Philippines, His Excellency Benigno S. Aquino III.
Morning. Please sit down. Senator Sonny Trillanes, Dr. Alfredo Pascual, President of the University of the Philippine System, Dr. Cesar Saloma, Chancellor, Dr. Edna Estefaniaco, Mayor Ben Abalos Jr., former Senator Orly Mercado, former Representative Risa Ontiveros Barquel, participants of the International Conference on Public Administration, Governance, Tradition, and Transformation, honorable local government officials present, officials, faculty, members, and staff of the NCPAG, fellow workers in government, honored guests, mga minamahal ko pong kababayan, magandang umaga po sa inyo lahat. It is heartening to see a good number of people gathered to talk about public administration and governance, and I'm certainly glad to be here. I must confess this is, I think, my first interaction with NCPAG. Besides, of course, the 2010 elections, where a former member of your faculty, or present member of your faculty, was one of my severest critics. Of course, he forgot to tell us that he was a consultant of one of my competitors. It is in conventions like this where we get the opportunity not just to share ideas with our colleagues from all over the world, but also to listen and learn from one another. So perhaps you will allow me to begin by sharing some of my views on governance. I have always been a firm believer that the mission of government is to take actions to create fairer outcomes for society. And among the jobs of a president is the efficient allocation of resources so that the government can achieve those outcomes. This is the underlying philosophy that informs all of our decisions, which leads one to ask, why is this important? Why have we chosen to focus on anti-corruption and anti-poverty as a means to achieve these fairer outcomes? If we take a moment to look at what is going on in the world, we see that the disparity between the rich and the poor, between the powerful and the powerless, has widened over the last few decades. This has led to turmoil in the Middle East and to some extent to the political discord we have heard about in the West. What we are seeing here is the social contract that holds these societies together fraying at the edges. Those at the fringes are beginning to question whether this social contract does indeed ensure everyone a fair share of responsibilities and benefits. And this has affected the social cohesion, the togetherness of some countries. This is precisely why our administration focuses on inclusive growth and anti-corruption in particular. If we ensure that growth is inclusive, from those in the center to those in the margins of society, then all of us will feel that we have a stake in keeping society moving forward and will do our fair share to make sure that this happens. So how exactly have we done this? How have we put flesh to the idea? For one, we are equipping more than 3 million poor households with the resources to cope with the challenges that come their way through our conditional cash transfer program, and we haven't stopped adding to this list. In 2 years, we have nearly quadrupled the program's budget, from 10 billion pesos in 2010 to 39.4 billion this year. And may I add, we did this without raising our taxes. This program will have families sending their children to school. It will have their infants and their mothers going to medical professionals for checkups. These are the poorest of the poor, and we are empowering them to pull themselves out of their plight. I have always believed in the capacity of the Filipino to rise above their circumstances, and we need to give them the opportunity to do just that. We are also getting more and more of our countrymen covered by health insurance. We have raised the number of Filipinos registered in PhilHealth from 74% in 2010 to 82% today. And this is with the goal of having every Filipino registered by the time I stepped down in 2016. We need to invest in our countrymen so that they can truly feel that they have a stake in our country. This is how we are strengthening the glue that holds society together. This is also why we have been focusing on improving areas that have for so long been neglected by officials who only looked after themselves. For example, we have synchronized the ARM elections with national elections to foster genuine political competition, authentic choices for voters, and to eliminate the idea of the ARMM as a vote bank for those who want to buy and sell votes wholesale to affect the outcomes of the polls. This is why we have released 8.59 billion pesos worth of projects in that region, so that the people there can finally feel what it is like to have a government that actually works for them. Likewise, this explains why we have been consistent in holding peace talks with rebel groups, because as we have learned from what is going on in the world, progress is impossible if a nation stands divided. Now, what were formerly breaking points of our society are becoming the durable joints of a formidable whole. We are learning from the mistakes that have led to crisis in other places, and the world has embraced our efforts. The global community has recognized the seriousness of our goal to close the gap between rich and poor and to eradicate corruption. Transparency International, for example, cited an improvement in government service and the cutting of red tape as the reasons behind our steadily improving rankings in their Corruption Perceptions Index. In 2008, we were ranked at 141st, and we have progressed to 134th in 2010 and to 129th in 2011. Of course, we should not stop until we go below 100 and further than that. This, without doubt, is in large part due to some of the excellent people in your field. We have also been invited to and are a founding member of the Open Governance Partnership. Our efforts have likewise redounded to similar praise for our economy. Renowned publications and institutions have referred to us as probably the 16th largest world economy by 2050 and as the best place to do business in Asia and Oceania, in both manufacturing and service. Clearly, our reforms have won us momentum, and it's up to us, to all of us, whether in the private or public sector, to maintain this momentum. There remain serious challenges ahead. The problem of poverty is one that must be solved. There are still corrupt officials who will be prosecuted and jailed. The changes we envision are massive, and these changes cannot be enacted by a single office. We have to do it together. Many of you here know this. After all, through the years, the National College of Public Administration and Governance has done more than its share of producing graduates who contribute to nation building and who help nurture institutions in government and in civil society. This is the institution we turn to if we want to find some of the greatest unheralded heroes of our bureaucracy.